Only in the affair would broken toilets still be a part of the plot. This episode starts out with Allison's story, and she's just so in love with Noah. It's the beginning of a relationship, so big surprise. But it's not all peaches and cream in paradise, because Allison's left at home alone all day, pretty bored, hours from her regular place, and she and Noah are broke. Love is wonderful, but money makes the world go round. She thinks about reading Noah's manuscript, but decides to let it go and decides to walk into town. In flip-flop sandals, not the best idea, and at one point she just sits down and takes a break. But a nice man in a pickup truck drives by and offers to take her into town. She tries to refuse, but she gets in. She decides she needs a coffee and asks a waitress who looks just like Jane how much she makes. But eventually she says she doesn't want to be a waitress, and we find her back home, and who is there? Cole. She knows it's him because when she comes up to the house, she sees her bike. He gets angry and messes with Noah's manuscript. Like lost his mind crazy, and this is the first time we've really seen him this season, and he's put on a little weight. I assume this is padding. Anyway, he brings her stuff and gets really annoyed when Allison won't let him use the toilet, because obviously it's broken. He goes to get his tools and he fixes the toilet himself. In the meantime, she meets up with the wife of the man who owns the property, and they agree on a date for afternoon tea. She gets there and realizes it's the same man who picked her up, and he convinces her to become his wife's assistant so she can get work done at the big publishing house she runs. Interesting, Noah's writing a novel that will need to be published. Allison is happy, not just because of the cash, but because now she has something productive to do with her time. But when she tells Noah her great news, it makes an angry Noah even angrier. He doesn't want her working for them. They're doing her a favor, and it's just inappropriate. And since he's upset, she decides not to tell him about Cole, and in fact lies about who fixed the toilet. I'm starting to think the truth is just completely elusive to anyone on this show. Then, even though these two have had a big argument, they have sex on the kitchen counter and everything's back to happy. Sex is their main connection. Cole. Poor Cole, he's just sad and depressed. He's lost his ranch, he's lost his wife, he's lost his house, he's lost everything. Now he's driving a cab and comforting himself with cocaine. And driving endless hours fueled by the cocaine. It's just not good. He's just living on the edge of danger. Anyway, he goes to Allison's house, which is pretty far away, to take her things, because he'd found Jane in his home getting them for her. He's really mean to Jane, but then he just takes off in the middle of the night to see Allison. When he gets back to Montauk and to work, he picks up who else at the airport? But Helen's father, and he has no idea who Cole is. Hard to believe since they've all grown up in the same town together for all their lives, but maybe this dad is just really stereotypical and completely unattached. He goes on and on to the cab driver who can't escape him and talks about how his son-in-law Noah was such a loser and he was glad he was out of the family, but he was also jealous of him because he'd left his wife for someone he loved. He left your daughter. That's not okay. And he's decided to emulate Noah. He found a woman to love and has decided after 40 years to leave his wife. And he says 40 wasted years. This probably explains why Helen's mom was so irate with Noah when he came to the house. And now for a game of he said, she said. Cole says he spent the entire day with Allison, just enjoying the time, and she even made him breakfast. She says he was hostile and she was so afraid of him, she even asked if he had a weapon. I think Cole really thinks this is what happened, but he's on drugs and he's completely sleep deprived. Allison probably has the right on this one, that he was not nice and out of his mind. He never mentions fixing the toilet, and she says he did. He also says he gets closure at the end of their meeting, and they separate only after hugging and working everything out. She says he leaves in anger and gives her the memory box from their son's life. It's great that Cole thinks he has closure, but it doesn't sound like that's what actually happened if we listen to Allison. She might be exaggerating how he was, but we won't really know what he did because everything he sees is completely clouded. Cole, listen to Nancy Reagan. Just say no. At the end of the episode, we see a very angry Allison when she finds out that Helen has hired a great lawyer for Noah, and Noah is charged with vehicular manslaughter. And with Cole, we find him meeting Allison's little girl for the first time. He seems gentle and calm about the whole thing, but of course any child is going to be hard and wonderful for them both since they've lost a son together. We don't know how far in the future this court drama is, but I can't help but wonder why Helen is still involved and why Allison would be so jealous and upset about it. Oh, the tangled web they weave.